Welcome in, everybody. Thank you for very much for joining us for our webinar presentation today on how we're going to help you increase your Medicare revenue by 50%. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Matt Alina, and I'm one of the managers here at URL Insurance Group. And have you ever heard the saying, know your numbers? Have you do you know your numbers? And it really boils down to the insurance industry is a numbers game. And even in the realm of sales marketing, when it comes to insurance, it's a certain number of calls that you're going to make, certain number of people you're going to meet is going to generate a certain amount of revenue. And that's where you know your numbers. So I know that if I talk to X number of people, that I'm going to get X number of appointments, and X number of appointments is going to yield to X number of dollars. So you're able to forecast and able to do some sales predictions, sales forecasting, and things like that. So in my 20 years of working at URL, we have basically looked at this and okay, if you talk to this many people, if you double the number of people that you talk to, then you're going to be able to double the number or the number of or the amount of revenue that you make. So the question that I have for everybody on here, and I know this is a rhetorical question, is who wants a raise? And I think if I were to turn your camera on, I would probably see your head nodding saying, yeah, I want a raise, or maybe you're raising your hand. We all want to raise. We want to be able to make more money. We all want to be able to provide more things for ourselves and our family and our loved ones. We want to be able to create a legacy, if you will, and you want to get earn what you're worth. So it doesn't matter how long you've been in the insurance industry, how long you've been selling Medicare. There's a great opportunity in Medicare, and chances are many of us are selling ourselves short. We put our blinders on, and all we are doing is selling Medicare. Well, there's other opportunities there beyond that, basically go beyond the Medicare world, but you're dealing with the Medicare relationships. So last year in the fall of 2023, or actually the summer of 2023, I decided that I was going to see what it was like to be a Medicare agent. Now, I wasn't running appointments or anything like that, but I'm like, you know what? I am going to take my AHIP test. I'm going to do the certification. I'm going to go through the training that you go through year in and year out. So, what does it take to be a Medicare specialist, a Medicare agent, working with seniors, helping them get involved or get enrolled in their Medicare programs? Well, first and foremost, you have to take that wonderful AHIP test, that annual certification. And you have to, I think you have to get 100% on that, if I'm not mistaken. You have to pay those fees, those pesky licensing fees, those pesky certification fees. You also have to do those individual carrier certifications and fees. You have to have a working knowledge of Medicaid as well as Medicare and that eye chart of Medicare A, B, C, D, all the way up to whatever. You have to know the difference between Medicare Advantage plans and Medicare supplement plans. You have to know those good old CMS rules and regulations. There's a lot of government oversight. We've been experiencing a lot of that, who gets overrides, who can sell what, and all that stuff. So there's that government oversight rules and regulations, CMS compliance. So you're going through all of those things. You've got people looking over your shoulder, making sure that you're doing everything by the book. For somebody like me, where I'm more of I'm a life insurance guy. We don't have a lot of those rules and compliances and things like that, but we try to help abide and try to go by the same rules and regulations that CMS puts forth for what we should or should not be doing when we're on a Medicare appointment or scope of appointment, if you will. So you work hard to be able to get those certifications. You know all of the ins and outs. Sitting down with people, that seems to be a minor thing, right? Well, when it comes down to getting compensated for the amount of time and all the certifications that you do, if you're enrolling a new Medicare Advantage client, most of you are making $689 per person for the year. For Medicare Advantage plans, someone maybe you're just switching plans, but they've been in Medicare for a while, the it comes out to $345 per person. They give you a raise a little bit every now and then. If you're doing Medicare supplement, that's about 22%. Basically, it averages out to about $300 per month on average. Now, these are numbers that I'm getting from people that already are partnered with URL doing Medicare with us. And all this stuff is basically governed by CMS. It's all their rules and regulations about the compensation that you can get. And the compensation gets funneled through your upline. Your upline then pays you. Very few companies pay you directly, and you don't get paid right away. So, what if I told you that I can show you a way to increase your revenue without having to prospect for new clients? Even to make things even better, or to put some icing on that cake, is you don't have to pay any additional licensing fees. You don't have to go through any additional certifications. It is CMS compliant. It's going to increase your referral stream as well. So you don't have to spend additional money on leads and things like that. And you get paid directly from the carrier within a couple of days of placing the policy. It may sound too good to be true, but we do have a way to do this. What you're providing for Medicare clients is an invaluable service. You're giving those clients of yours the ability to see the doctors of their choice, doctors that are in their network, specialists as well. They're able to get their medications if they need to, if they travel, or if they need to go to get special treatment, maybe at Johns Hopkins, the Mayo Clinic, or wherever. You're giving them the ability to do that as well. You're giving them the ability to live a long and healthy life as possible. But we're going to show you that we can increase your revenue by doing it the same way. And it's basically from providing them health insurance, AKA Medicare, to providing a way to protect a person's legacy. You hear about protecting a legacy and how somebody wants to be remembered. And one of the things is, it does not matter how much money you have in the bank or how much money your client has in the bank. Everybody wants to leave a legacy. They want to be remembered. And there is a way to do it. It can cost money, but there's a way to do it. A recent study asked older Americans, what are some of your top fears? Now, there's a top 10 list, but the top three are areas where we, as insurance professionals, Medicare, life insurance professionals, can help address the top three fears. Number one is 1 in 2 older adults fear not having enough money saved. So they're afraid that they're going to outlive their retirement. There's an opportunity there for you to help them address that. 1 in 4 older adults fear that they'll never pay off existing debt. Your relationship with URL Insurance Group, we will help you address that. 45% of older people fear having high medical bills. We have a way to help with that as well. So your relationship or your partnership has privileges when you're working here with us at URL. URL is specifically designed or strategically designed to be able to help address all of these different areas. Not only do we do Medicare, and we do it fairly well, I tip my hat to Christy Wilbert and her team. But we also do other things well too, from annuities to life insurance to ancillary products like disability and critical illness, dental, vision, the whole works. But where we're talking about protecting a person's legacy is we're providing peace of mind. And that is a priority for many people. They want to have that peace of mind. Peace of mind actually helps people live a longer and healthier life. It provides them a better lifestyle. And one of the things that people don't want to leave behind is they don't want to leave debt behind. They don't want to leave medical bills behind. And they want to be able to pay for for funerals, their final expenses, if you will. And that's where legacy protection, final expense planning comes into play. Now, you knew if any of you have known me for a while, you know that I'm the final expense manager here and that I'm going to be talking about final expense. I'm going to get that in there. But the fact of the matter is you're leaving money on the table. Final expense planning is only accentuating the services that you do. You're putting that exclamation point on there. You're also keeping your competition out of there. If you're not helping your clients with legacy protection, final expense planning, somebody else is going to do it. And you should not be relying on client loyalty that they're going to go to you to ask for help for final expense. Chances are they're not. Final expense planning is going to protect your client's final assets, financial assets, and their income. It's going to pay off existing debts as well as those medical bills. Remember, 1 in 4 Americans, older Americans, their concern is leaving those medical bills behind. 1 in 2 Americans is afraid that they're going to outlive their money. It's also one of their concerns is leaving debt behind, which is also funeral expenses. Legacy protection through final expense planning provides money for funeral arrangements. It can also gift money to children and grandchildren. It can leave a little bit of money there to maybe pay some college tuition or to help the children or grandchildren leave a down payment on a car or a house or some other investments. Some people, older Americans, they're big into giving money to their church or their religious organizations and charities. And there's ways to do that as well through legacy protection, final expense planning. So what is this whole final expense planning? What is it? Is this just, like what you see advertised on TV? Absolutely not. If there wasn't money, the companies that are doing the advertising on TV wouldn't do it. But it's a similar product, but it is not the same. The products that you have available to you to help your clients with their final expense planning is a lot better, a lot more affordable, and everything else. It's a whole life insurance policy where they pay a particular rate that's locked in for the rest of their life. And as long as that premium is paid, whether it's by the client or the client's family, that coverage is never going to go away. It's a budget friendly, affordable plan. It's designed to be easy to qualify for. You're dealing with older clients. Older clients are going to have pre existing medical conditions, heart attacks, cancer, stroke, diabetes, high blood pressure. It's easy to qualify for these plans. There's no medical exams, there's no medical records that need to be obtained. The rates are locked in. They're never going to increase on the client. Never. They're never going to get that. Some of the stuff that they see advertised on TV, they don't realize it, but those rates may go up or that coverage may cancel at a certain age. So the coverage that you have available or the protection that you're providing your client through your relationship at URL, that coverage never goes away. Many of our companies that we have are going to provide you instant underwriting decisions. So there isn't any of that guesswork either. And it provides tax free benefits, benefits that also avoid probate. So you're addressing your client's concerns of leaving debt behind, paying those medical bills, providing income replacement for that spouse, the surviving spouse. There are so many different ways of doing final expense legacy planning. So, what are the steps to final expense planning? And it's really about cross selling and re engaging with your Medicare client. It's very simple. And I'm going to show you the numbers here very soon as to how this all works. But final expense planning, it really takes about 6 steps. The first step is really to check in with your Medicare client and schedule a meeting. We have letter templates that you can utilize. And it starts off by thanking the client for being a valuable Medicare client and that you're available to answer any questions that they have about their plan. But then it goes into having or starting a conversation and talking about the importance of legacy planning, final expense planning. Send out those letters to your clients, follow up with a phone call. You're going to discuss and address your client's concerns. You're making it about them. Even on a Medicare appointment, you're making it about them. You're finding out what their concerns are with Medicare, aren't you? You're sitting down, you're trying to find the most affordable way to protect their assets, their money, so that they're not going to be inundated with a bunch of medical bills. You're giving them the ability to be able to see the doctors of their choice if they have some pre-existing medical conditions that are maybe a little bit off the grid, that they are able to have those medical concerns addressed by the specialists of their choice. You're sitting down, you're developing a Medicare plan that's designed around them. It's about them. You're doing the same thing when it comes to final expense. You're going to you're going to discuss and address the client's concerns. You're going to provide some solutions on how to protect their legacy. So you're going to give that compelling concern. And one of the biggest concerns of a client is that they're going to be leaving that money, they're going to be leaving debt instead of money for their family. They don't want to be remembered as a bill. They want to be remembered for the legacy, with legacy of love that they're leaving with their family, to be remembered that way. And it's really about completing and submitting an application, getting an approval. A lot of times you can do that right then and there at the point of sale, whether you're sitting face to face with the client or you're on the phone with the client. And the policies and all the materials get sent directly to your client. You get paid right away. Now, it's kind of an odd conversation to have with somebody when you're talking about life insurance and death and dying. But honestly, it's also an odd concern to be talking about when somebody gets sick. If you get cancer, if you have a heart attack, if you have a stroke, this is what you need to do. These are the bills that you're going to incur. This is what's going to happen. So some conversation starters, and remember, you're coming at this, and your angle is that you're providing a legacy, and um, people, we're all going to die at some point. We may as well be prepared. So some of the conversation starters that have worked with other agents that are the Medicare peers of yours that are already cross-selling um, the final expense programs and other programs to their Medicare clients, they start conversations like this. If you died last night, who would be the one responsible for making your funeral arrangements today? Stop and pause. Let them answer the question. They'll probably say my son or my daughter, my husband, my wife, my niece, my nephew, my grandson, my granddaughter. Then you follow that question up with, are they financially prepared? Meaning, is there going to be money, or are they going to have to put your final arrangements on a credit card? Because that's what happens if they don't have something already arranged. Family that's responsible, the family members or family members that are responsible for preparing for that funeral, they're probably going to be putting it on a credit card. Are they financially prepared? What plans do you have for your final arrangements? Some people may already have a funeral plan. They've already talked to a funeral director. They already know what they want. They've already picked out their casket. They already have their cemetery plot. or they already know that they're going to be cremated and they're already going to be doing the urn. Even though that those things have already been pre-planned, it doesn't necessarily mean that they've been prepaid. So again, a final expense plan can address that. It may already be prepaid, but there are going to be some unforeseen expenses that the family may incur. Having that cash on hand, an AKA final expense plan, provides that cash on hand. And some other things another question is, have you ever given thought about your legacy? What is your legacy to your children and grandchildren? What about leaving money to your favorite church or your favorite charities? All of this can be facilitated through a final expense program. So, what is the value add or proposition that you're offering? Yeah, you've got that Medicare sale, you have that Medicare client. A lot of times, those Medicare clients are responding to final expense leads, and another final expense agent is contacting them. And that final expense agent may also be certified to do Medicare. What's keeping them with you? So here's what the value add proposition that you're offering when you're cross selling, when you're doing more than just Medicare. And when I say final expense, yeah, final expense is a great tie in or a great bond between a Medicare client and final expense. We're going after the same client, but yeah, there's annuity opportunities and things like that. But the value adds that you're providing is one is you're helping them reduce financial stress. You're reducing the financial stress on the person that you're insuring, that they know that there's going to be money when that day comes. It's not if that day comes, it's when that day comes that you're providing money for that day. And the other thing is you're reducing the financial stress on the beneficiary. So the funeral and Medicare expenses are no longer a burden to a grieving family. There's a saying that I heard once I got into the business 25 years ago. It's cry once or cry twice. Cry once when the person dies, the family dies, they're grieving over the loss of their loved one. Cry twice when they realize there is no money coming in to maintain that current style of living. The other value add that you're adding is financial flexibility. The client's beneficiary is going to be receiving the money tax free, avoids probate, and it can help pay funeral and other debts. And lastly, but certainly not least, it's providing peace of mind. Clients receive a sense of security and control. They're taking control over their finances. They're not letting that stress eat at their mind, that they lay awake at night wondering how they're going to pay bills. So it provides all of that. So, what are the next steps to doing this? So you're like, okay, Matt, I understand. I need to cross sell final expense. I need to um, not leave money on the table. Yeah, but here's what you do: select core companies and get contracted. There are no contracting fees or anything like that. You don't need to get licensed with 15 different companies. Two or three companies is all that you need. You've heard of some of the companies: Mutual of Omaha, Transamerica. But then there's some other companies out there: Foresters, Liberty Bankers Life, Great Western, Royal Neighbors. So you're going to get contracted with these companies. You and I together will select those companies. And then you'll send out a compliant turnkey letter to your clients. Follow up with a phone call to schedule a meeting. So you're going to send out a letter. Do not think that the client is going to respond to the letter. They're not. You have to follow up with a phone call, making sure that they got the letter. We'll get into all of that, and I'll show you how that works. Following up with a phone call. Then it's a matter of enrolling the client in a customized program, a final expense program that's going to be budget friendly, that's going to be affordable, and Once that's done, the client gets approved, you're going to get paid. It's not one of these things where you sell today and you get paid 2 or 3 months down the road. Typically, commissions get paid within 24 to 48 hours of the policy being placed. So those are the steps. That's really what it takes. But you're probably wondering, Matt, aren't you going to show us how to increase our revenues by 50%? Absolutely. I'm glad you asked. So let's do it like this by the numbers. Now, I mentioned as I opened this webinar today that we were talking about numbers, knowing the numbers. Medicare client plus legacy planning, aka final expense, equals 50%. How does that work? Let's break it down by the numbers. Now, I know that many of you that are on today's webinar, you have large, robust numbers of Medicare clients. You have a large book of business. But I wanted to break it down like this. So when you're looking at the numbers, the average commission's $345, right? Give or take. Now you're going to have some new clients that are going to come in. That's going to be a higher first year, but then the renewals are about $345 per client. So if you have 100 Medicare clients, that means that you're going to get an annual revenue of $34,500. And if you have oops. There we go. If you have 250 clients, that's going to be $86,250 in annual revenue. 500 is $172,500. 1,000 is $345,000. Now, like I said, some of you have 2,000, 3,000, 5,000. You get the numbers. This is just if you're doing Medicare alone. Some of you, that's a perfect income. You don't want to have to work any harder. No problem. But understand that you cannot rely on customer loyalty. Cannot do it. Because what's going to happen is you're going to have people going out the back door because your clients want a final expense plan. And if they're not getting it from you, they're getting it from somebody else. What is stopping that somebody else from cross-selling and taking that Medicare client from you? So it's going to close the door on your competition. It's going to increase your revenue. You're providing the products and services that your client wants and needs. And it also is going to provide you with another opportunity for a referral stream as well. And you're not just a one-trick pony. So now if you add Medicare plus final expense to your book of business, that you are now going to increase your revenue. So knowing the numbers, and this is based on agents that are already cross-selling, your peers that are already cross-selling, the average agent is able to convert 22% of their book of business into a final expense client. So the average commission on a final expense sale, this is first year, is $800. So for those of you who have 100 clients, you're going to close about 20. I'm estimating at 20%, but it's actually 22 at $800 per on average. That's an additional $16,000 in revenue. So you make $34,500 in Medicare, another $16,000 in revenue for final expense. That's an increase of 46%. For those of you who have 250 clients on the books, that's an additional $40,000 in revenue that you've made, and another 46%. 500, that's another grand in your pocket. 1,000 clients, that's another $160,000. When you have large books like that, it is almost, well, it is worth having and bringing somebody onto your staff to be able to help cross sell final expense and other products. So you're like, okay, you said that I'm going to increase my revenue by 50%. That's only 46%. Well, that's true. The average number is 22% of people who are able to convert Medicare, their Medicare book, 22% of their book to final expense. $800 is the average premium in final expense. Where I'm figuring 50% is that the people who partner with URL are above average. So, do you think you can increase it by 50%? Oh, absolutely. And final expense isn't the only place, folks, that you can be offering other products and services. Annuities. A lot of you are also making a lot of money selling annuities as well. So, often overlooked opportunities. Your Medicare client is a door opener to retirement protection, aka annuities. Talk to Cody Wilbert and the rest of the annuity team at URL. Long term care, that's Jason Collins' team, and he can help you with long term care planning, ancillary coverage, dental, vision, hospital indemnity. Folks, these are all opportunities that are on the table. Don't leave money on the table. So here are the next steps. You and I need to have a conversation, and it really starts like this: selecting core companies. Like I mentioned before, you don't need to get licensed with a bunch of different companies. 2 or 3, maybe 4 companies max is all that you need. We'll get you contracted. It does not take very long to get contracted. And you'll receive the product training. We have different training courses. We have our final expense closers clinic that we hold several times a month, as well as a final expense academy. So we're going to show you the product training. We're also going to show you how to sell final expense. You're going to send out letters to clients, and you're going to make follow-up phone calls, and you're going to make it about them. Ziegler once said that if you help enough people get what they want, you'll always get what you need. So you're helping people protect their legacies. You're going to see and reap those rewards and those benefits. So the next step's very simple. In the subject line of an email, send it to me at matta@urlinsgroup.com. And in the subject line, type in the word cross-selling. What I'll do then is I'll reply with a link to my calendar, and you and I can schedule a one-on-one consultation. It won't take more than 15 minutes. We'll have a conversation. We'll select some companies. We'll get the contracting going, and we'll be able to help you on your way to cross-selling, keeping your clients on the books, keeping your competition out, and also increasing your revenue and referral streams as well. So we'll coordinate our schedules, and like I said, get that done. The sooner you get on my calendar, the sooner we can help you with making money and helping you increase your product services and your revenue as well. So matta@urlinsgroup.com with the subject line cross-selling, and then I'll reply with a link to my calendar, and we'll schedule and coordinate our schedules for a one-on-one consultation. Be on the lookout. It's really time to diversify. This past year, CMS has been kind of looking at, are Medicare agents making too much money? Who should have their hands in the pot? And it's really an opportunity for you to think about diversification. Medicare is a great service. What you provide people is valuable, extremely valuable. And you should take an opportunity to grow on that and diversify and grow in your own product knowledge, in your product offerings. Change is inevitable. Growth is optional. So with that, I will take some questions, but again, the next steps, contact me. Send me an email. I'll reply back with a link to my calendar, and you and I can have a Zoom call or a one-on-one phone call, and we'll get our schedules coordinated. Any questions, you can contact me at 717-216-8041. And I appreciate everybody's time, and I hope that you saw the opportunities and how you can increase your Medicare revenue by 50%. Thanks everybody for joining us, and until next time, have a great day.